introduction. Hi, my name is Afsha, and I was a professor, hence the doctorate. Don't take it seriously. Half my career I've been a professor, I still teach, and the other half has been working for an oil and gas major in L&T, tech giant in Accenture, and these days I take care of the learning agenda at Pidilite. I must congratulate the BW community because typically the keynote speech on future of AI is done by consultants. And here you've invited somebody who's from the brick and mortar company. But I thought this is maybe because Fevicol Marul Naka Bagal mein. Believe it or not, has anyone seen people who have come from Delhi? Please do visit our Marul Naka. We made it sure that जो सबसे busiest juncture है बॉम्बे का, हमने उसी के ऊपर अपना नाम लगाया because Fevicol का मजबूत जोड़. Correct, absolutely correct. Okay, so when we are preparing for this deck, my team thought, what do you want to talk about? This whole past 3 years has been such a conundrum of activities, such a space of okay, I think there's a problem with that. I'll speak from here. So the last 3 years since AI has come in, it's been a very interesting journey for all of us. How many of you can still say over here that they've never tried AI? Can I see a show of hands? Great. So I'm in the right community, I'm in the right setting. How many of you have ever built an agent for your own self? Can I see a show of hands? Great, right. So today I'm going to talk about my experiences with reality, my work as a product designer with Accenture, and what am I currently doing at Pidilite with the whole space of AI. These are my learnings, these are my experiences. I could truly be wrong and I totally own to it. But let's start. So where did we start this journey? So 2023 we started at, oh wow, there is something new. I have understood something new. This is a tool, it is discovered, it is creating an image. So I created an image of a dog in a, good morning Dr. Batra. You want to come first? It's okay. So we started by poking at it. Oh my God, this tool is creating a sonnet. Oh my God, this tool is doing something new. Cut to January 2026, where at the Davos meet that happened last month, all the senior leaders, 50% of them were talking about when is this tool actually going to give me ROI? So they're actually looking at a kid and saying, hey, when are you going to work? I've put a lot of money into you. Is it too early for us to ask for this? Yes? No? They say that 1 year in AI terms is equals to 10 years in a regular lifestyle. So maybe it's true, you spend a lot of money and we are asking when is it going to give an ROI? So hence, I thought let us create a AI maturity model. And before I created this deck, or late last night, we saw that Josh Bersin also came up with a maturity model. I looked at the maturity model and I was like, thank God, I'm actually landing somewhere near only. Now what I'm going to present is, there are different organizations when it comes to implementing AI within the organization. Thankfully, learning became a poster child of implementation of AI within an organization. All of us agree, most of us are from the learning function. We became the poster child. People ask, okay, you are going to forerun what is going to happen with AI in the organization. We are going to learn from you. That is a great space to be. According to me, these are the 4 spaces that we are. At level 1, you have got organization who are tool driven. They have got early adoption of AI happening. A lot of organizations, in fact, all the organizations have brought some or the other tool. You've taken a Copilot, a Perplexity, a Claude, a Gemini, XYZ. The skill that is required at this space is, do you know how to use the tool? And a lot of organizations have done this, that they would have a Thursday AI session where you expect on Monday everybody knows everything about AI. How many of you have done that? Raise of hands. Taught everybody, gave them a certificate and thought Monday से इनको सब कुछ आ जाना चाहिए, हमने इनके हाथ में अलादीन का चिराग दे दिया. Isn't it? Did it happen? No. The second stage is workflow integrated, where now we are a lot of agents which do not talk to each other. They are independent agents. So there is a learning agent, there is a supply chain agent, there is an agent which is created on giving the information to learners on when the learning program is happening, so on and so forth. The third stage is decision argumentation, where any agent is going to be created by taking in 3 or 4 workflows together, 3 or 4 SharePoints together, and going to give you a decision. For example, at Pidilite, we use our advanced agent to tell our sales force where sales is happening, which are the distributors or developers who have not worked with us for the past 3 months, and where should be our attention. Now, this is something which is flowing from our own database. The fourth space where some of the international organizations have gone and some of the Indian organizations have also gone is the agentic space, where you'll see the agents deciding and making decisions for you. Early morning, you're getting a reminder that, hey, you've got a learning program happening. But if you do not want to attend that, this is also an e-learning module, you can do that. So agents making different decisions. Now, in all the 4 levels, the skill gap or the skill capability gap is huge. In all the 4 levels, the decisions that an organization has to make is different. In all the 4 levels, it is absolutely fine to find your organization. Today, if you go and ask any business guy, how many skilled people do you have? They'll tell you, only 25% of my workforce actually has the skill to use AI and take my organization ahead. Agree? Yeah, I can see a lot of nods. This situation is going to be like this for the next 2 or 3 years, my dear friends. So let's get comfortable. The first and the most important analysis we should do is, where am I? Am I comfortable being wherever I am? And do I want to go ahead, or do I want to be where I am? It's absolutely okay. A maturity model is not supposed to make you feel nervous. A maturity model is supposed to give you the tools and enablement to go ahead. So this is my take on where we are. Actual skill and capability chokehold starts happening when you move from level 2 to level 3, where it's not just fancier to use AI, but it is important because you are using AI for each and every decision that you're doing. Okay, let me move forward. Okay, so let me give you some examples of each of these levels and where are good organizations, because Ashish told me, ma'am, just don't give us theory. We know you're a professor, but we also want to know what are the things you have done. Okay, so yeah. Today, when we make AI agents, we make these agents in any of these 4 spaces. An agent for learning could be a Socratic agent, where the agent is just asking the questions, or it could be an advisor, where the agent is actually giving data on what are the best learning tools available out of the canopy of 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs e-learning program, which is the one that best suits you. The third level is where an agent becomes a co-peer, a learner with you. It helps you. So if you see at the advisor level, today most of the leadership development programs, IDPs, are created by these kind of advisors. When you just put in that I have this learning requirement and this learning need, the advisor will tell you, okay, these are the programs that are available within the organization. You can complete it within the next 3 months. This is what is going to happen. When it becomes a collaborative peer, it actually nudges you. The technology required for the last 2 is still getting developed. I'm sure this is my invitation to my peers who have come from the industry of vendors and the industry of suppliers. This is my invitation to you. Let's look at this model and can you create those agents for us? Because right now, we are hanging in the first 2. The last one is a dream but true. The adaptive personalized training and adapts to learners' dynamic engagement. It helps you and says that, okay, you do not have that much of a time, but maybe this is a summarization of a 2-day deck that was given by your colleagues, and this is where it can be used. Agree with this? Show of hands, please. Yeah? Can I ask if any one of you has created the first 2? It's easy. First 2? You want to share the name of the agent, sir? Yeah, sing some. Okay, no problem. So, yeah, so AI for learner support. The second one is AI content creation. All of us have used this. We are creating a lot of content. Before even we go to the client space or before even we go to the business guys, we already have an instruction design which is ready. We already have a content which is ready. We've already thought through it that iska ye problem hai aur uska ye solution hai. जैसे negotiation skill मांगा है, 2 घंटे का भी program है और 12 घंटे का भी program है. We already have 4 designs which are ready. The good thing is that because of AI, now you can convert all those programs into multiple languages, into multiple contexts, and into multiple time frames. You can help the learner by creating micro contents or big contents and whatever you have made. So this is one space where we see a lot of work which is happening. This is one space where I see a lot of content creators also coming and saying, we used to have an LLM or an LXP, now we also have an AI part of it. And this is where my problem starts. There's a lot of AI washing these days that I see. Simple little products, just put the name AI and come to a learning head and say, hey, this is an AI thing that we have created, would you want to buy it? And my first question always to all these people is, can you give me a use case of where you have implemented this thing in any other organization? And there's a blank silence. And truly so, because there are no use cases right now. We're still figuring out what's happening. The second one is AI for learner support. So it's available, autonomous, asynchronous, available anywhere and everywhere, and it has got a lot of tech support. If you see the modalities that are coming now for the learners, nobody is directly going to a classroom. People are doing a lot of self-paced learning and then coming for a classroom, maybe not even coming for a full day. People do not have time. So AI has come in a big way to help. The next one is AI for analytical optimization and performance insights. This is where I will say this is the third or the fourth stage of maturity, where system starts talking with each other. Your learning system starts talking with the performance system, saying that, hey, the performance gap in this individual, can it be bridged by this particular AI? And all of us are using this kind of tool, these kind of agents, where we are saying that these agents are available to send reminders to people. These agents are available to create flyers for the next training program. These agents are available for do all the kind of optimization. I do not now necessarily have to look at employee data or employee masters, or I do not have to look at attendance sheets. All those things are getting done by the optimized agents. These are 4 important spaces where currently we are seeing L&D. So in L&D space, we can easily say that we are somewhere on the maturity model level 2 or in some organizations level 3. I do not want to name organizations, but we've created tutors as a person working in Accenture. We created learning tutors. It went to the client and said, but you told us that this will create IDPs and it did not. Absolutely fine, absolutely possible. And when I work today with Delight, I create a beautiful agent and it still goes and bankrupts because there is something which is missing. And that's my question. Have we all become Ajay Devgan? This used to be a favorite movie. Anyone remembers this movie? Yeah? Pool or Garden. Yeah. आज चीफ लर्निंग ऑफिसर का एक पैर 1857 में है, जहाँ क्लासरूम सेशंस करना है, और दूसरा पैर एआई के ऊपर है. आज still there is a requirement that I produce data that how many programs have got completed, and there is also a business requirement for somebody saying, but we have invested so much. Where is the use case of AI? When is it going to give us ROI? And also, if all the content is getting generated by your smart bot, when are you going to remove people from the organization? Tough questions, true questions. A recent report which was published by Harvard said that there is a lull in the space of AI since mid-2025. Because while organizations started removing people, they also realized that they're not removing because AI has become very productive. They're removing in the anticipation that it will be very productive. Okay? This is a paper which has come in the December 2025 issue. They're still waiting. It's a research of 1,000 people. They're still waiting and saying, okay, where is that productivity? Because the need is still do classrooms, still do outbound, still do something. And also the want is, दूसरी गाड़ी पे पैर होना चाहिए. हमने सब कुछ एजेंटिक कर लेना चाहिए और ये सब कल हो जाना चाहिए. Isn't it? I think this is with the nod of heads that I can see, this is still a reality for all of us. It is still time for us to come on either one of them, which is fine, not a problem. This is what I think is broken. And let me talk briefly about what is broken in this whole system. Skills, knowledge, behavior paradox. Teaching people how to use AI, this is a skill. Applying AI, knowledge. Putting the culture and reward mechanism to apply with AI within their work, behavioral shift. As a learning professional, I'm responsible for the first, maybe partly second. When I put learning into the flow of work, am I responsible for the third one? What can I do for the third one? This is a big question because organizational silos are not going away. We are still working the same way we were working. People do not share data. I can happily sit over here and say that L&D will take data from performance and say that person's performance has gone down. This person is spending too much on supply chain. That's why that person should get L&D. That doesn't happen. That's a very euphoric word that I believe should be there, but it is not there. Hence, there's a big gap between level 1 of maturity and level 3 of maturity, that our organizations are siloed. Secondly, we've not created enough roles within the organization to do all these things. We've just put AI to people and believed that they will start using it. We've given enough number of certifications, we've done enough amount of work and believe that it will happen. This is the first problem. The second problem, which we call in consulting terms as the hourglass problem, is because organizations believe that a lot of people will become redundant, they removed a lot of people from the middle layer. Today, AI has a proxy of removing hard work from your workload. It is not a proxy for maturity. You still need the middle level, which is there in the organization to implement whatever you have thought so. So, removing people is not a solution, and hence the skill gap. These two are the biggest problems right now that we see in AI implementation in organizations as well as at a country level. We want to go ahead, we know more is required, but we don't know how to convert that skill into knowledge into behavior, or how do I put that behavior modification framework so that people become motivated to apply it. In some organizations where I've worked with as a professor, what I've come to know is that there is a lot of shame calling of people who use AI. One colleague of mine was interacting with a young colleague of mine, a business guy interacting with a young colleague of mine. He said, अभी हम इनसे कुछ पूछेंगे, ये कोपायलट खोलेंगे, ये आंसर दे देगी, इनको भी पता नहीं होगा इन्होंने हमें क्या आंसर दिया है. So I cross-checked with my business guy and said, इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है सर? आपको आंसर चाहिए, right? And the other person said, हाँ but वो maturity से आना चाहिए. I said, सर उसके लिए एक mature इंसान आ सकता है. And these are conversations we are seeing everywhere. There are videos that we were creating. One of our business guys came and said, there is something wrong with the way this person is talking. Your AI is not right. Can we get Amitabh Bachchan's voice in it? So I said, sir, what you're talking about is called AI slur. I have a Matthew McConaughey kind of a voice, but I don't still have Amitabh Bachchan talking in my e-learning programs. That's my problem. Yeah, that's true. So these particular issues make it very vulnerable for people to say, I am using AI and it is fine. There are a hell lot of other problems, but maybe we'll talk about it later. Let's look at some of the solutions that come to my mind, and I'm free to discuss about it at tea with all of you. What are the solutions you have found for these particular problems of cutting in the middle and the broken link between skill, knowledge and behavior? I think we owe it up to ourselves for creating a psychologically safe environment. This whole fear that AI is going to take away my data and you should not use agents because agents are going to take away your data is ill-founded. All the data that agents are supposed to take, they've already taken, sir. Nothing is left now. If they want to co-create and give it to some other organizations, they already have it. So be relaxed. If you're creating agents, create a psychologically safe space to say, it's okay to do mistakes. This is a new kid. Look at it as a peer. Don't look at it as a mature bot which will give you all the right answers. Interestingly, a recent research where one of my colleagues who was working with Harvard found that they created two learning contents. One was created by AI and one was created by a faculty, and it was run with students. Students not knowing which is AI and which is created by faculty, and they wanted to see which ones gets most hits, where is the learning sticking. Interestingly, it was a physics class, and they found that the AI created content was accepted better as compared to the ones created by the faculty. Now, there are very many caveats in this. That was a Harvard class. physics students have got an average IQ of 120, blah, 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 blah. But having said that, there is some sense to creating a bot and giving it a psychological space for people to use it. Second, more certifications is not the trick, because what you will be doing is you will be enhancing more knowledge, but more skill. More knowledge, but you will not be enhancing the skill. Where are you creating the psychological safety of, okay, I have taught you this, let us see where you can use it. If you have a problem, let's come back and discuss what are the problems with the bot, and we may want to correct. We need to think about modalities of behavioral change and create the right kind of framework of psychological safety and reward mechanism for people to use it. And then and only then you will be able to see absolute skill enhancement at the 25% number of people capable moving to 30, 40, 70, whatever. Organizational ability, role alignment, performance support, absolutely required. And last but not the least, it's absolutely fine to accept that all my learners will not be able to get it. All my learners will not go from level 1 to level 4. It's fine if the top 20% are able to use it. It's fine if the top 30% are able to use it. Do not push them for more certifications. Everybody has a learning curve. And with AI, it's interesting. Maybe if I do the same talk next year, the deck entirely would have changed, the numbers would have changed. But right now the numbers are daunting. Right now the situation is interesting. We are the cool kids who drive the cool aid. The learning folks are the cool kids, and people are now asking us questions. They're tough questions, but interesting questions. So come one, come all, welcome to the AI journey. Thank you very much.